So welcome to this session next in the library series of webinars. This one is about searching, search harder, smarter, not harder. Um, so this will go for about half an hour. My name is Matt Lumsden. I'm from the Learning Support Team at the University Library. Just want to acknowledge and pay our respects to the Kaurna people, the traditional custodians whose ancestral lands we gather on. We respect and value their past, present, and ongoing connection to the land and cultural beliefs. So, as I said, yeah, this is a webinar. So we will be recording this as well, and we'll make it available later on the University Library YouTube channel. If you have any questions or anything through the session, feel free to post them in the Q&A or the chat. I have my colleague Rani to assist with answering them, and we can also answer some questions at the end. And there'll be some links as well posted in the chat as we go along. Okay, so today's session will cover a number of things around searching. So just about choosing search terms, searching exact phrases, using some search tools like Truncation and Wildcards, as well as Boolean Logic, which is basically using and, or not to combine or exclude search terms. And we'll look at some of the library resources which can help you along your way as well. Okay, so why bother with the search strategy? There's a number of reasons why you would use a search strategy as you approach an assignment topic, a research topic. Basically, if you just put in general search terms or a few words from your research topic, you're likely to get a lot of results, which means endless scrolling through pages and pages of results to try to find and identify ones that are relevant and useful, which also can mean an information overload. If you're getting thousands and thousands of results, it may just be too much for you to absorb. And you also get quite a few irrelevant results as well. So a search strategy can help you to sort of focus and direct your search and to hopefully find more relevant and useful results, which also means that you'll have less to read later. If you've at the initial stage gone through a search and found what is relevant, what is useful, then you'll only have that to read later rather than a lot of irrelevant material. And also there's this idea of rabbit holes. So for those not familiar with that, it's basically going down, digging deeper and deeper into a research topic. Sometimes you can go too deep and get distracted by a lot of sometimes quite interesting information, but stuff that's not really relevant. So, and that makes it hard to sort of get back to your focus and get back to navigating what you actually need for your search. Okay, so the first tip I would give you is to basically think about your search terms. So this will necessarily involve looking at your search topic and also brainstorm ideas around keywords, alternative keywords, similar terms, and synonyms for the keywords that you're using, for the concepts that you're using. So just bear in mind that there'll be a lot of literature out there you'll need to sort of try to locate. They won't all use the same sort of search terms. So you'll need to sort of be creative and think about variations on how to approach your search strategy. So you can find keywords and synonyms from subject headings in library search, and I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. Just from research, just thinking about other terms that you can use and looking up. So as you find more and more articles and resources that are relevant, you may find other words that are used to describe the same terms that you're using. You can also Google just any sort of words that you're using. Google's good for coming up with definitions and synonyms. Gen AI is another new sort of resource to use in terms of finding alternative search terms. And you can also go for a good old-fashioned thesaurus. There are online thesaurus, and you can also find physical ones in the library. So just looking at the topic on the right there. So in the question, we've highlighted the key concepts in that topic. And then underneath that, we sort of looked at how to find we suggested a number of variations on each of those terms. So under children, you look at kids and youth, preteens, school children, adolescents. And also for something like food additives, you think about using artificial flavoring, preservatives, artificial ingredients, and things like that. So it's just trying to find as many different variations of your search terms as you possibly can think of. Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick search. And some of these search tools that I'm using, I'll go through a little bit later as well. Okay, so just a simple search for food additives and children or adolescents. Okay, so when you run a basic search in library search, you'll see on the right-hand side a number of subject terms come up. If you click on Show More, you'll see the complete set of subject terms that are the most popular ones used in the results that have come up. And you can see that search has pulled up over 2.5 million results. So obviously that's way too many to be looking at. You'd need to filter that down. So you can use the subject headings on the right-hand side of your search results screen and just sort of pinpoint the ones which might be useful to you to narrow down your search a bit. So you'd use something like preschool children. You could look at children and adolescents. And in terms of finding the food additives, you'd maybe look at something like risk factors for those other categories. So that's one way of doing it. You can look at the subject headings on the right. You can also, if you're looking to try to find some other search terms to use, is to actually look into one of the results there. So if I click on this one here, the food additives pose health risks, which looks like it might be a fairly relevant result. Scrolling down, you'll see that this lists a number of subject headings that this article is indexed with. So you'll see things like children, food industry and trade, and preschool children. So these are the other sort of suggestions you could use to search as search terms. I'll just look at another article as well. So this next one, food additives and child health, which looks like it would relate to our topic. And again, you can see a list of relevant subjects that this has been indexed with. And again, you'll see things like children, but also food industry, food handling, food additives. So these are all other subject headings you might want to consider when you're searching under that particular topic. All right, and that screen just demonstrates what I went through in library search. So it's just an example, a couple of examples of articles there and some of the subject headings within the results there, and so the subject headings on the right of the results screen. So another tip that we have for you is to basically search for not just individual words, but if you're looking for phrases. So there may be times when you want to search for a particular phrase that contains words that you want in that particular order. So in this example here on the left-hand side, there's oral health. So you could put oral and health into a search engine and it'll pull up a lot of results which won't be relevant because it will be finding every single search result which has those two words in any particular order. So you might find stuff about oral history, about health services or something like that. So if you're looking at focusing on a particular phrase, you just put them in quotation marks. So oral health in the quotation marks there will search for that phrase with those words in that particular order. And this can be particularly useful for when you're searching for articles that will for terms which will necessarily pull up a lot of results. So in this example on the right-hand side here, we've got artificial intelligence applications. So this first search has done it's basically we've just put that into library search without the quotation marks, and it's pulled up. I did the search; it's pulled up over 800,000 results. But you see, a lot of these are conference proceedings. They're not necessarily about applications involving artificial intelligence. They're sort of conference proceedings and a lot of things which aren't particularly relevant. So to focus that search, you'd put in the quotation marks, so artificial intelligence applications within quotation marks, and that will search for those three words as a phrase in that particular order. And that reduced the results to about 8,000. And you can see these are actually articles and books about artificial intelligence applications as a topic. So yeah, far more relevant results and far more useful to you in the long run. You don't have to sort of try to get through thousands and thousands of irrelevant results. Okay, so there's a number of other search tips we can give you just to try to narrow and focus your search and to be able to find variations of your search terms without having to put in sort of multiple search terminology within a search string. So something you can use is truncation. So this basically involves putting a asterisk at the end of a word or the core of a word. So in this case, we've used technology with an asterisk. So putting that into a search engine will pull up all results with those that word as the base. So it'll find things like technology, technologies, technological, etc., etc. So it's a really good way of just finding variations of a word. Another example would be child. If you put an asterisk at the end of that, it'll find children, childlike, and any other variation which begins with your core word. Okay, wildcards are another suggestion. So basically, this involves putting a character. In library search, it's a question mark, and that will be the case for a number of other search engines you use. Other databases do have different characters for the wildcard, but if you're using library search, you can use this question mark. So putting that into a word like that, it's basically where you have words that may have different variations in spelling. So in the case of behavior, it can be spelled with an OU or just an O, depending on whether you're using American English or British English. So putting that question mark into a search will mean that you'll find the results with both variations included. So it's just a simple way of simplifying your search without having to put in both variations of a particular word. And the same with the organization and organization spelled with an S or a Z. In that case, you'd put the question mark in the space of that character, which does change depending on the type of spelling you use. Okay, I'll just do a quick example of that. Back to library search. Okay, I'm going to change that search just slightly and do finance as a base word with a star there. So that will find anything with finance, financial, finances, etc. Manage. So again, that will find managers, management. I will use women with a question mark. So that will find women with an E and women with an A. And performance. I'm basically trying to find articles around financial performance involving managers that are female. Okay, so you can see the results. There's only just over 8,000, which is that's a fairly small amount. You could obviously filter this search even more, but a lot of these results are about women in sort of managerial positions and financial performance of firms and companies. So again, it's a good way of focusing your search and finding those variations of spelling. So in the case of finance, finding different variations of that, financial and finances, as well as the manager aspect of it. So managerial, and also using the wildcard with women to find women with an E and women with an A. Okay. All right. And one final tip to use is what we call Boolean operators. So this is basically using the words and, or not. So using and is a way to narrow your search because you're looking for one idea, one set of search terms, and another set of search terms. If you use or, it's a way of expanding your search. So you're looking for one set of search terms or another set of search terms. So you can it'll expand your search to find more results. Not is another one that you can use to exclude a term. So you could search for some terms but not something else. It's not always recommended to use that because it can, even though a search result might include a term that you're excluding, it may still be relevant. So we don't always recommend you use not. It can actually mean that you're eliminating a number of resources which may actually be useful just because they include that one particular search term that you've excluded. But you can see in that example here, we've used the brackets around one set of concepts, so guinea pigs or cavies, which is another word for guinea pigs. And then we've combined those with and also one other thing is to make sure when you're putting in and or use capital letters. And that's the same for any sort of search engine or database. It's always best to use capital letters. Some search engines will recognize lowercase, but most of them do. You do need to use capitals. So we've used and in brackets, another set of search terms, diet or nutritional feeding. I'll just do a quick demo of that. So using brackets to combine one set of search terms or in capitals and then cavies. And then we'll combine that with and in capital letters, diet or nutrition. That's probably enough. Okay, so you see this found just about 6,500 results. So it's a fairly focused search, and you see that it's related to those search concepts in terms of nutrition and nutritional concepts around guinea pigs. And you could reduce that search even further. You could see the results are coming from 1801. You might want to focus that a little bit more current. So make it from 2000. And yeah, reduce it by about half. So yeah, so that's just a demo of how to use the Boolean search in library search. And just bear in mind, you'll need to sort of adjust your search. You won't always get the right results you're looking for the first time. So it'll take a lot of trial and error to get to where you want to be. All right, so I'll just really quickly go through some support materials. So back on the library homepage, if you're looking for any sort of support on the spot, you can click on the Ask Library link and contact the library in various channels. So you can chat, email, or phone. We also have these How Do I guides. These are basically self-help guides, which cover a lot of different topics. So you can develop essential skills, find information, and also information about referencing and managing information. Under the Services for Students link, there's a training page where you can find some introductory courses to enroll in. These are library skills training courses. Under the training link there. And one final link is the University of Adelaide Library YouTube channel, where we'll actually be posting the recording of the webinar very soon, hopefully. So, and you'll find other webinars we've done in this series. So the one from last week, Introduction to Library Services, is already up on the page, and we'll be posting the webinars as they come up. Okay, so if there's no questions then, I might just wrap it up for today. Thank you for attending, and I hope it was useful for you. But again, please don't hesitate to contact the library if you do need further assistance. Okay, thank you very much.